We have to. We have an interesting starting pack here. Campaign of Vengeance is good. I don't know that I want to first pick it. There's also Choking Restraints and Haunted Dead. I think that we just take the Restraints. I really like Campaign of Vengeance, but that's a card that we should be able to wheel if we're going to be in white-black. The card was insane for us last time, the couple times that we managed to play it. It's always been good for me, but I just can't really see Campaign of Vengeance being better than Choking Restraints, especially just when I'm going to be trying to cut a lot of white-black. This card almost always wheels. It makes sense to just take Choking Restraints. Haunted Dead would be pretty sweet too. This card's good. I do like it a lot, but yeah, we'll take Choking. And now we have, Lone Rider, Courageous Outrider. I was combining them there. Lone Outrider. Certain Death. Some good cards here. There's some good blue cards too. Bunch of blue cards. Holy cow. There's a lot of good blue cards. I don't know if I want Lone Rider or Courageous Outrider more. Lone Rider will just steal games. If you can actually flip this, it is absolutely nuts. That being said, Courageous Outrider is just better without having to do any extra work. So I'm not sold on either one of those being that much better than the other. I think that I take the Outrider. Like I said, it doesn't require any other cards to be good. Or very few anyways. It's a lot easier to get a bunch of humans than it is to get a bunch of lifelink or ways to gain life. And so I think that I'd rather have the Courageous Outrider. Plus, in the actual games, like Courageous Outrider, it doesn't need anything. You just play it. You play Lone Rider, and I mean, there are games where it just doesn't do anything unless you have, like, a Cultist Staff or something. Newsgraph Mob. Ooh, I like Newsgraph Mob. That seems like a slam pick for us. Thraben Foulbloods wouldn't be the worst. We would try and get Delirium a fair amount of the time in white-black, but yeah, the Newsgraph Mob just goes really wide around people. I love it. We'll have to take that for sure. It's exactly the kind of thing that we want with a Campaign of Vengeance, for example, which we're trying to wheel here. Markov Crusader or Graph Rats. Graph Rats is interesting, although really kind of unnecessary unless we get the Midnight Scavengers. Markov Crusader is good, but I don't know. How many 5-drops in like late game cards can I have? Because right now we have, our first creature is 4, then we have a 6. Suppose that I can still take this and we can pick up some cheaper creatures later. That's probably okay. I think I'll just take the Crusader. Now we have Extricator of Sin, which I used to think was pretty good, and I've been coming down more and more on the card. It's just not done enough for me. That being said, it might be the pick here. There's not a whole lot that's great here. Borrowed Malevolence is okay. Desperate Sentry is also okay. Like, I need Delirium for it to actually be good. And I don't think that that's super likely right now. I mean, who knows? We're only 4 picks in, but I don't want to have to warp my deck around it. It's so much easier to get Delirium in green where you have things like Vessel of Nascency and Grapple with the Past. Stuff like that's really strong for Delirium. It's harder to get Desperate Sentry going when you're just white-black. I think... And it's just not enough of a payoff either. I think I'll take the Extricator. Geistfield Scarecrow. Another Desperate Sentry. Goodness. I mean, the cool thing, I guess, is Extricator Sin does pretty well with Desperate Sentries, so they do get a lot better now. I think that we take the Geistfield, though. Our deck is really slow currently. This is funny, and it's kind of awesome as a dichotomy between the two different decks right now. Like, our first deck was so aggressive, and this deck right now looks so slow. So we'll kind of have to see which of those two works out a little bit better here. Ironclad Slayer versus Certain Death. As much as I like Ironclad Slayer, and as much as I want earlier game, I don't know that I can pass Certain Death right now. I would not mind a Certain Death. No, I should probably just take Slayer. I do need early game. I kind of need some creatures. I don't know. No, I'll take Slayer. It's got a lot of upside, too. Probably Abominable. We'll just take Wailing Ghoul. That can actually let us get later in the game. And it can turn on Delirium, so it'll make those Desperate Sentries possible. A Desperate Sentry plus Extricator of Sin is not the worst either, so I can pick up some of them if they wheel. That other Campaign of Vengeance was probably coming back. I'm gonna guess it will. It's possible that it doesn't. If it doesn't, then I'm unhappy, because that means that somebody else is probably trying to be white-black, and that is not something that we want to do. We don't want to be fighting over white and black against somebody specifically. That's one of the things these full force episodes. Okay, that was the last pack the wheel. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, man. All right, so we didn't wheel the Campaign of Vengeance, although I grabbed one anyways, which is kind of nice. Take the Cleansing just for the sideboard. Hopefully we've cut enough white-black. They might just, like, have taken the campaign early and then decided, once they stopped getting cards, that they should just move out of it. That's going to be the hope, is that we just kind of force them to leave it. That is the point of the full force kind of drafting style anyways. Like, if you're just going to force a draft, not that you probably ever should anyways, but if you are going to do it, the advantage of that kind of strategy is that you do tend to push people off of whatever you're in. So in pack 2 or 3, you tend to get better cards. Give No Ground versus Iron Rights. I mean, I already have an Iron Rights. I might as well take the Give No Ground. And what else do we have here? I'm hoping that one Desperate Sentry comes back. It doesn't look like they will. Yeah, no, I guess not. Somebody is definitely pretty heavy into white. We've been cut pretty good on both sides. Both black and white has not really flowed. It's not a bad spot for us to be. I mean, like, our deck's not terrible by any means. We've got Newsgraph, we've got, like, Courageous Outrider and Choking Restraints. These are all decent cards. Geistfield Scarecrow's not bad. But it's also not, you know, an insane start to the deck either. I'm really hoping that we can, like, get some Boon of Emrakul's and actually get the Ironclad Slayer thing going. Or a Midnight Scavengers, so I can start buying them back. Preferably both, really. That'd be the best thing. Stromkirk Condemned. Unfortunately, decent enough card. Not really good for us, because we're not going to be able to have a bunch of vampires and be discarding cards for madness and things like that. Doesn't really make any sense. We do have the Midnight Scavengers, and there's a Certain Death. Also Dawngriff. These are all pretty reasonable. I think that I take the Scavengers over the Certain Death. I don't know. I mean, currently I only have one removal spell, so it might just be better to grab the Certain Death. It's a tough one. I don't have a Graph Rats, so that does make Midnight Scavengers a little bit worse. Although the odds that I get one are pretty decent. I should be able to pick one up fairly late. This is a close pick. The Certain Death versus Midnight Scavengers here is really close. I think that I like Slender Man here. I'm just going to take Certain Death. I don't have a lot of removal, and I'm a little bit of a slower deck. I can't rely on speed like I did last time to overwhelm my opponents, so I need to make sure that I actually have the removal. Let's grab Olivia's Dragoon here. It helps us get a little bit faster. I mean, both of these are better cards if we can get the payoff, but it's hard to get the Delirium, and Ironclad Slayer doesn't have anything to get back yet. Dragoon's just already solid and it's cheaper, so it seems like a better use of our time. And Sanctifier of Souls. That card is great. This card's really good. I'd love Ruthless Disposal, just another removal spell, but I can't pass Sanctifier. I mean, it just gets you a ton of value. Being able to exile anything from your graveyard to just constantly get 1/1s. Not to mention pumping it while you're doing it. Like, yeah, that card's good. It's not insane, but there's no way that it's, you know, not better than something like Ruthless Disposal, which can be good, but I mean, it's still like you're forcing yourself to, like, what, get 3 for 2'd no matter what you do, because you have to, like, discard, sack a creature, and play the card. Man, Distended Mindbender now. This deck is looking a lot better. Gavony Unhallowed. All of our forcing has kind of paid off here a little bit, I think. We're getting some good opens, and I think the cards are kind of flowing. I mean, this is a pretty late Distended Mindbender, but we'll take... Oh my god. Wow. And now Crypt Breaker. Yep, I would say that we've done a good job of cutting our colors. Oh, man, I'm excited for this now. Crypt Breaker is insane. We just need enough time to actually have all this go off now. We've got really good, like, late game synergy with Sanctifier, like, Newscraft, Distended, Crypt Breaker. All these cards get really good later in the game. Another Brazen Wolves. There's been a lot of Brazen Wolves going around. Could take a Rise from the Grave. I'm a little unhappy having to take a 5-drop. I really need, like, 2s and 3s. Thraben Standard Bearer is just not a card that I care about, though. So I guess it's just going to be Rise from the Grave. Desperate Sentry. And Midnight Scavengers? Ugh. I don't need another 5. So that's kind of the problem with Midnight Scavengers. But it is a lot of value. Maybe I should just not worry about that right now. I mean, like I said, I need to just kind of make it to the late game. Not that Desperate Sentry or Supplicant are great at doing that. I'm just going to take Scavengers. It's just so much better. And, whoa. Wow, that's a late Boon of Emrakul. Boon and Graph Rats. Ugh. I want the Graph Rats so bad after taking Midnight Scavengers. I was pretty pumped to see it, but I don't think there's any way that I can take Graph Rats over Boon, even with the Midnight Scavengers. I mean, I have an Ironclad Slayer, too. Dawngriff Wield and the Midnight Scavengers Wield? Wow. We're definitely taking Dawngriff here. White-black we cut very well, because all the cards are coming back. Yeah, there's Slayer. Oh, this is great. Fiendbinder, I don't think that I care about it, but I don't care about Board Grace either, so I'll just put that in the side. Okay, so we've got a few extra 3s now with the Boon and the Ironclad Slayer pickup, so that's kind of nice. I need a bunch of 2-drops if possible. So in, like, pack 3, I hope that I can get, like, maybe... Honestly, even, like, Thraben Inspector would be good. Gavony Unhallowed or another Ironclad Slayer. This is a lot of Slayers. I don't have enough enchantments to really make that worthwhile. I might pick up a Deadweight, which would help. If I pick up Deadweight, then this Slayer is still pretty useful. Gavony Unhallowed is really nice, but it's more late game. I think that just takes Slayer. Standard Bearer, Supplicant's fine. And sure. I don't think that I play the Supplicant main deck, but it's certainly a possibility. I mean, we already have 20 playables. Accursed Witch. Ooh, I love Accursed Witch. There is also Murderous Compulsion. Another 2-drop. Well, not 2-drop, but 2-mana card would be nice. And Accursed Witch, I don't know. I mean, 4s are really not what I want right now, but Accursed Witch is insane. I think I still have to take it. Probably cut the Markov Crusader here. That card's not super great. I'll just take the Witch. And hopefully I can wheel, like, Unruly Mob. I don't love it, but it's a human. It's a 2-drop. Probably play it. Dauntless Cathar. I do like that. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice and True Faith Sensor are both really nice, but I think I take the Dauntless, and then I can hopefully wheel a Ghoul Callers of the True Faith. It's fairly likely that I get back, like, one of these 3. If I have to, I can make up for it a little bit with Vessel of Ephemera. It's not really the 2-drop that I want, though. Abyssinian Missionaries, good card, but I don't really have any equipment yet, and Angelic Purge is great. Another Accomplice, but I want the removal more. What do we take out soon? We've got to cut some cards, probably Borrowed Malevolence. Like, we're going to end up with too many playables. Compulsion. I like Paranoid Parish Blade quite a bit, but at this point we definitely take Compulsion. Another removal spell is good, and 2-mana spell is kind of nice too. Ooh, a Devilthorn Fox. Oh, we're about to have a visitor. I don't know if you guys heard that meow. Oh, hello, yeah. He's rolling around on my desk here, looking for my attention. Yeah, Devilthorn Fox definitely makes sense. Macabre Waltz isn't the worst, but I guess I need 2-drop creatures, preferably. Moorland Drifter. Okay, I could take out Extricator of Sin. I don't really need it. I don't have anything great to sacrifice anyways. So yeah, Moorland Drifter seems good. Neglected Heirloom. I'm never flipping anything, so Heirloom doesn't make a lot of sense. But Drifter seems nice. Like, just another 2-drop. We've really filled out this lower half of our curve that we needed to quite nicely in this last pack. I'm very happy about that. None of these cards are amazing, but they will just help stall us to get to the insane late game that we have. With, like, the Mob and Certain Death and a Cursed Witch and all these wonderful things that we have going on for our deck. Sanitarium Skeleton. Anything that I can use that with? Well, I guess that I could use it with Extricator. That's kind of cool. If you can actually get Delirium, then you can do it. That being said, I don't think that I need that. And it's also going to be a little bit difficult to get Delirium. Crow of Dark Tidings is a zombie for Crypt Breaker, and another flyer wouldn't be bad. I think that seems fine. I don't know what I'm going to cut for it, or if I just sideboard it. It's a close one. Morkrot Necropod. Ooh. I might actually play that. It's such good late game. I don't need a lot of late game anymore, but Necropod's hard to turn down. That card's really busted. It's almost impossible to stop once your opponent plays it. Like, if you can attack with it, it's so difficult to stop consistently. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice. That's going to be better than, like, Moorland Drifter. Or maybe Wailing Ghoul. Although it is a zombie for Crypt Breaker. Might help us turn on Delirium. What do I actually need Delirium for? Is there anything? There's the Extricator if I wanted to put it in. But that just doesn't seem useful. Besides that, there's nothing. Inquisitor's Ox. That's another one with Delirium, I suppose. But I don't feel like that's super necessary. Get back Vessel. We need to cut 2 cards. So it could be Necropod. I want to play it. I really want to play Necropod. But, I don't know. It might just not make sense. I do have some late game already, like I said. Alright, I can probably take Necropod out. I do love the card. The Slug Father is not to be underestimated. It's too bad we didn't get any Deadweights, because Deadweight and these Slayers would have been really nice. So we cut 1 more card. 24. It wouldn't be that bad to cut a 3. I have 3 Ironclad Slayers. I thought that I only had 2 again. I guess that I picked up that other one hoping for the Deadweights, like I said. That seems fine. I can just, like, snap cut a Ironclad Slayer. It's not a bad card. Like, even without being able to get back, like, Boon of Emrakul. It's not terrible, but I don't see any reason to play 3 of them when I only have the 1 boon. Choking Restraints is a lot harder to get into your graveyards, so it's less likely that we're buying that back. Alright, and I think, is this a 10-7 in favor of black? It might be. It's kind of awkward, because all of our 2s and 1s are black, and then all of our 3s are white. So that's kind of strange, but I think it's good enough. I think that I like it. As a 10-7 in favor of black. Maybe 9-8? Maybe 9-8's correct. I don't have any double white. I only have 2 double black cards, Distended Mindbender and Newsgraph Mob. Alright, I actually like the suggestion. We'll do 9-8. This deck looks good. I'd love it if we could actually go 2-0. Like, in a full force episode, if we actually make the finals twice, that's sick. It's so hard to make the finals with a lot of these decks, because you do force the decks pretty hard, and then often that can end up in a train wreck. You get some really, really insane decks sometimes, but you also end up with some decks that are probably not what you wanted to go into. But I will see you guys in just a minute for round 1. This looks pretty good. Let's just use Sanctifier. Remember not to hit Crypt Breaker. Really don't want to do that. Land? Alright, now we have something to do. All the value. Our opponent's going to use the Vessel of Ephemera, but who cares?